ever use it. We are now. That your broadcast may be captured by the recording. All participants should keep their phones or microphones or mouths muted until called upon by me. How did I do? Close it up.
So George, I don't know how to get rid of the Carlisle one unless I try to log back out. I had this issue before. It's because of the LSC meetings. It makes me Carlisle one. Is that okay?
I don't think it's a problem either.
Okay. All right.
You're number one. I must be number two, right?
No, you're zero. You're the top.
That was zero. Thanks a lot. All right. It is now 7:06. We go to other items.
I think the public hearing, you can probably start.
Yeah.
Okay, for notice of intent, DEP 125-1202, 163 Sunset Road. The applicant is Shell U. So this is the purpose of the project is constructed in addition to the dwelling, an accessory dwelling unit, ADU. The ADU is located outside the 100-foot buffer zone to the BVV. However, the driveway and associated grading for the ADU are partially located within the buffer zone. In order to provide sewage disposal for the ADU, additional capacity in the sewage disposal system is required. A new sewage disposal system is proposed for location outside the 100-foot buffer. Navneet is here, thank you. Associated grading for the system as well as retaining walls proposed within the 100-foot buffer. So this is continued from August 7th and 28th. And here we are on the 11th of September. So we have here waiting to receive site plans and tree mitigation. Has that happened, Megan?
It has not, and there was also a scheduling delay for the soil testing for the septic with to resolve Board of Health questions. So the applicant has requested a continuance, and I think they'll have to do some redesigning of the septic placement. So we should expect revised plans all around
Okay.
in the coming weeks. So
Wait for the 8:25 meeting or hopefully they're ready. I'm sorry, 9:25.
yeah.
Great. All right,
I'll move that we continue DEP 125-1202 to September 25th.
Second.
we'll take a vote. Are you with us, Nancy?
I am. I'm just
Okay.
pulling up the agenda on my computer.
Okay. Dan,
Aye.
George, aye. Melissa.
Aye.
Ryan,
That may be easier.
Yeah.
George, you forgot me.
Brian, who?
Aye.
Oh, sorry. Brian, how do you vote?
Aye.
All right, so that's a quorum already, and that means you can weigh in, yea or nay.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Motion is passed.
I'm sorry, what
So,
was the date? What was the date it continued to?
25th of September.
Okay, thank you.
the next meeting. So can we go to the public hearing next? Even though we're early?
No.
We should do something.
Okay,
No.
moving to the end. So number one, new and pending business minutes from 8/7/2025.
Yep.
I reviewed them. I like them very much. Thank you, Judy. Any comments from commissioners? Anybody from the public? Silence, okay.
I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of
8/7.
8/7/2025.
Good.
I'll second the motion.
We'll take a roll call vote. Brian,
Aye.
let's see, Melissa?
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Navneet,
Abstain.
and the chair votes aye, motion passes. Discussion of new member nomination, and it mentioned somebody by name. So you weren't here, Navneet, we were talking about there's another candidate who came in today. So we're gonna push this off to the next meeting, and we'll send out resumes of both of them for everybody to read, and then we'll make a vote next time around. Okay? Do we need to make a motion to delay it till
No.
next meeting? No? Okay,
Can I ask?
sure.
Nothing to do with that. Usually on here is a vote to authorize signing on behalf of the commission. Now, see it on the agenda. Is that done?
I'm just reading the agenda.
Yes.
Decided that we would vote at one time, and then that would be kind of move forward for at least a fiscal year, I think is what we decided.
Okay. All right, number 3, we got still got 5 minutes. Land Stewardship Committee updates.
Happy to do so.
Go, Brian.
Guys, I missed the last meeting. I was stuck with a client till 11 o'clock at night, so I had no way to get away. It was a law office that was in a crisis. But the land stewards have created a subcommittee to deal with the Woodward property. We'll be reviewing the specific edits of the license that was issued to the applicant to grow native, and there's a support document that the abutters pointed out had some errors that we will correct in a subcommittee meeting. So we're gonna have our first meeting next Thursday. It'll be obviously on the town website, but we will take in the stakeholders of, if AgCom, if any other boards want to say anything, we're obviously going to listen to that. And then we'll take information from the abutters and we'll see what we might have to change from what's in the current license. We're not talking about changing the license, meaning changing it back to hay or grazing. We had already approved before we had any applicant to have the license to be for collecting native seed or quote unquote a nursery, although it's not a nursery. There's no pots, there's no tables, there's nothing. They're going to collect the seed and do it. So that's been on our list. And I'm sorry, in the last meeting I missed, and it's still going on. The whole thing about, God forbid, I parked outside of the field. And I will again verify maybe in writing tomorrow with Ryan, but I called him after all those issues. And he said, you're a town official, you can park there. So the licensee is only allowed 2 parking spaces in the field. I was there just as an official to check on them at an event. They were doing they were moving invasives. And I parked on town property, not in the layout of the road, but outside of the field. And the neighbors were not comfortable with that. So I don't know how much further we want to take that. I think those are the 2 biggest. Go ahead.
Sorry, Ryan says that it's legitimate for you as the head of the LSC to park there.
Or for example, and the same thing was true in Cohasset, we go out as a group. Well, I'll make it better in Cohasset. We go out and to look at a site and it says no parking because it's near the beach and they don't want people parking there. And the Conscom lines up in a row and parks there and does what they need to do. As long as it's official business, it's legal.
Okay.
So that was an issue, but I'll try to get that in writing from tomorrow. The other issue was there was a lot of concerns about Foss Farm, and we had done testing, which came back negative, and Warren Lyman had sent out his report asking for feedback, and we voted to table his report. There was no atrazine or other chemicals found in the water, so he doesn't feel like he needs to develop it further. If he wants to make more reports, he's going to do that as an individual and not as a member of LSC.
Okay, that's what he said in the meeting today, as I recall.
Yeah. So I think that's, unless people.
Well, one question, Brian. At one point, they were going to make more testing on the field at Foss Farm, and people, equipment was coming into Carlisle to do that, and that's been canceled.
That's all been canceled because there was nothing to find. Farmer Duffy has stopped using atrazine. So what's the point?
No, I agree. Okay.
Brian, can I ask,
Go ahead.
can I ask a quick question about Woodward?
Yeah.
I took a walk around Woodward and is there a list of the native plants from which our licensee is hoping to collect seeds. I wish.
I don't think so at this point. You know, this is their first year. Last year it was used for sheep. So
Right.
it's gonna take a little while. The area where some of the milkweed is starting to recover, but it's probably gonna be a couple of seasons. And that's why we gave them a 5-year lease before we can, you know, really see what's there. And all they're gonna do is pick seed heads. You know, except for the bull thistle and they went in and removed swallowwort. They're gonna remove the whole plants if they can. But that's.
So I noticed that there's a big sea of grass that looks kind of orangey, the heads look kind of orangey. Trying to remember the type of grass, but it's not native. And I was wondering, what do we do with a field where it's basically
The invasives are,
all non-native?
yeah,
Yeah,
They're planning on cleaning it out. They haven't given us a full plan yet. Obviously, they've been cautious because there've been, you know, a lot of issues raised. There've been people going to the select board and saying cancel the license, or they come to LSC and say cancel the license. So they're proceeding with caution, but they said soon they would have a whole management plan. They did give us one in advance to remove the invasives the swallowwort, and they did give us a copy of their insurance, so we know they're insured.
good.
well, that's good. It's just that the grasses that are growing there, it's all the grasses are non-native. And it's
I don't know, and I think
not with the camera.
I think their first goal is to remove the aggressive invasives like swallowwort, right, or bittersweet. I think before they get involved in the rest, but we'll probably get more information on that. I also, sorry, I left out, we did have a hearing on the cupola that was left in Greeno after the barn was removed. Sylvia sent a letter and asked some questions about, you know, it's in the floodplain. And our position is that and it's in the buffer zone. It was always in the floodplain and buffer zone, but it was a lot higher, right? Because it was on a whole building. The building is gone. Right now, there's snow, and apparently the cupola weighs about 1,200 pounds. So if we were going to do something different with it, we'd have to get a crane in. The cupola itself sits on 4 4x4s, so I don't think it doesn't need any compensatory flood storage or anything. It's just not. It doesn't have a very big footprint. I haven't actually gone and looked exactly where it is. I don't know if when they did the removal, they just you know, stuck it to the side. Obviously, Sylvia was involved at that time and overseeing the project. I don't know if she wanted somewhere a little bit different, but unless we're going to spend a bunch of money, we're probably not going to move it from wherever it is right now. It's just going to be used as a kiosk.
But, you know, it's in Greeno land out in the middle of nowhere kind of idea. I thought
That's
maybe
where it always
kiosk
was.
center of town somewhere, or information booth or something, is that not?
Apparently, it was going to be really, really expensive to move it because it has a very heavy slate roof.
Okay.
and it's top heavy. So the Historical Society decided they would just build a little base around it. And 2 sides, I think, will be ADA compatible. They were going to do steps up on 4 sides. So that people can come and it will just be another kiosk in town.
Okay,
Unless you guys want something different, but then somebody's going to have to pay to move it.
well, it sounds like that's a good interim solution, and Sylvia is gonna tell us what we're supposed to do. Come on, Sylvia.
There's a lot of people in Carlisle that want to do things that are in the buffer zone and flood hazard districts that would probably not want to have to go through a permitting process. My take on this is that I think this should go through a permitting process. It's approximately 30 feet from the edge of the wetlands and the lake. It's well within the 100-year buffer zone. I mean, excuse me, the 100 or bordering land subject to flooding resource area.
Okay.
And it was put there to keep it out of the way of the demolition of the barn.
Okay.
And for me, actually, historically, it is possible to get it out of all the resource areas and put it in a spot that is almost exactly where it was before, just doesn't have a barn under it.
But it's,
Sorry.
in terms of the overall progress there, we removed however many thousand square feet that building was. And we've left something that's 6 by 6. So the
Well, they're
overall,
gonna put decking around it too.
pardon?
They were gonna put decking around it and stairs. It's more than just a cupola.
So it's gonna be raised above the ground with decking
It said something.
and some
so
steps.
My feeling is as a citizen, is like anything else, it should get permitted.
But it was already there, it was already on that property.
In
So-
different locations.
So who owns the cupola? Who should be doing it?
Carlisle owns it. The
So the-
Conservation Commission owns it, I would think.
Okay.
It was the Historical Society that didn't know where to put it, want to put it, but they thought to save it and use it as a kiosk at some trailhead or something. There was no formal decision as to where it should go. The time it was just removed by the crane and put out of the way.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I guess,
So why was it left there during the sign off whenever you approved the work that was done and the contractor got paid? Shouldn't we have told them at that point they've got to get this thing out of there?
But it was, we tried to, and actually, we had, Mark Duffy come down because he thought he could take it. He got down there with his vehicles and stuff and looked at it and said, no, I can't do it. So he left. So there was an attempt to do that.
But was there a certificate of compliance
I
issue?
can't remember if there was a certificate of compliance or not.
Well, my next question is, Megan, have you been out there?
Kind of been out there, but I think I got Sylvia's email about it yesterday, so my plan was to look at the file and see if there's any mention in the order of conditions, but yeah, also to see if there even is a COC or just kind of get up to date on the project so I can figure out what the commission should do next.
Yeah, that'd be great if you could recommend it, review all of Sylvia's information and take a look, and maybe some other commissioners might want to go.
Yeah, Megan, I'd love to go with you and see it.
Okay.
It would be good to get,
Find the gate key.
and it would
Yeah,
be,
yeah, see.
it'd be good to look at the plans that the Historical Society has as well, to see what they're talking about for deck and stairs.
Okay, I can send out, I can try to schedule a site visit and I'll invite all the commissioners and maybe even some of the, well, obviously we can't have a quorum out there, but we'll see who can attend.
So you just can't discuss it.
Yeah.
that's the point.
But I can schedule a site visit so we can familiarize ourselves with where it is. and the site.
I've been out there, so I know where it is.
I've been out there too, yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
I was gonna actually pace it off, see exactly how close it was, because I think it's about 30 feet. But I paced off to about 10 and looked down and it was all poison ivy. No.
Oh, come on, Sylvia, you're tough. Okay,
I know.
all
So
right.
if we had, I don't remember when that was removed, but if we had 3 years and made sure that the replication area, tiny as it is, was, it's successful.
That's what Megan's gonna look into, if all
I thought
that.
she was- I thought you was looking more into the cupola.
Well, I'm gonna see if the order itself has been closed out and the COC has been issued or not, which would encompass the restoration area.
Okay,
So I'll look at all of it.
The- the-
I haven't
the rest-
reviewed it yet.
The replication area was for the dam, it wasn't for the,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it wasn't for the
Okay.
barn.
so just a couple of really quick, silly land use licenses we did. Kay Hurley is asked to use a drone to look on Fox Hill for these fairy circles, which apparently here happen in old fields, and they're mushroom circles. And she didn't want to tromp through the field and try to find them. I don't think it's been wet enough. We gave her a permit, I think, through the end of the year, and there may never be an opportunity to use the drone. Somebody else wants to put up trail cams and study some of the wildlife in Carlisle. Somebody else has already, I think they finished it. Somebody from Harvard had a permit to watch nighttime insects that were pollinators.
Right.
And then on Sunday, we have a wedding at the bog. That's about all my info.
Our third wedding on conservation land.
So, Brian, there was the issue with that trail being closed off. Is that going to be satisfactory for the wedding that you have?
Well,
on?
the wedding's at the other end. I was more worried about unhappy walkers than I was unhappy wedding attendees.
Oh, okay. I thought you were worried about.
No, it's it's behind, they're basically behind the bog house and the sand pit.
Okay. Okay.
But anyway, Steve Tobin, I sent you the pictures, I believe. Today he mowed the a trail through the what used to be the lower road. So you're on the lee side of the bog. And so the trail is closed off. He said while he was there, people were just walking past the signs and going anyway. But now it looks pretty obvious that you ought to go down and across. It's pretty good except for where the 2011 breakout was, where the dam collapsed. It's kind of bumpy through there, but it does give people a way to pass across if they really want to go on that trail.
Okay.
Without taking the crest. And I think you'd also have, the crest has been mowed. Not that wide and not fully like Sylvia would like. We're going to wait until after the
ODS.
Yeah.
It's ODS.
Oh, yes, but yeah, well, that's great news. Thank you.
Anything else, Brian? You all set?
No, but I think in the last meeting, Sylvia had mentioned there should be a liaison to LSC. I don't know how many years, but for years I have been that liaison. I'm sorry I couldn't report last week, but last time, but unless you think I'm not doing the job, which I obviously.
Well, I think, Brian, I think the suggestion from the public was that during a meeting, when you're running the meeting, it's hard to wear both hats from the Conservation Commission and the LSC chair at the same time. And so having somebody who is sort of just sitting there from the conscom perspective, while you focus in on running the meeting, it might be helpful, but that was a suggestion from the public. I don't know that we officially.
I don't think we did.
Okay, but if you want to do somebody else, I'm fine, because it is hard to do everything at once.
Yeah.
But I thought the point was that the liaison should report back to conscom what's going on. And if I
Right.
don't know what's going on in the LSC, then we're all in trouble.
I think it was more of like during a discussion, having someone who's thinking from the conscom perspective, not that you can't do both, but when you're trying to run a meeting, that might be difficult. That was, again, I'm trying not to speak for that person, just
Yeah.
kind of summarize what was.
I don't mean to smirk, but I have to say that I think I always have the conscom hat on first, even if I'm at LSC, and we are, we're the conscom's child, right? So I'm hopefully I would never want to do anything that's not what conscom wants, because that's my training, not land stewardship.
I think we agree with you, Brian.
Okay.
And we were gonna get a list of all the liaisons between conscom and all the other boards and committees. Do we have that, or? Okay, so we need to figure out who's gonna represent who. I know I'm doing ESC, just FYI.
And I do crack. I don't smoke it, but
All right, go ahead,
I
So,
just
yeah.
would like to publicly thank Steve Tobin.
doing the mowing and
Doing the
stuff,
mowing. It's hard work.
yes.
I guess it was awful that there's a whole bunch of lines.
Yeah,
Yes, I do have a list, but I only have everything we just mentioned.
Great.
so we need to figure out the rest,
Next week.
yeah. Could you send out a, like a table and say empty or something, or other, we'll figure out who to throw into that bailiwick show.
The big one's gonna be CPC.
Yeah, that would matter. All right.
We should get back on this.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving back to the agenda, 7:15, notice of intent, DEP 125-1204, 131 Farm Lane. It's Matthew Marno on behalf of Albor Kazaman, whatever. Sorry for the pronunciation. So the replacement of a subsurface sewage disposal system within the 100-foot buffer zone. Analysis of the lot reveals that some excavation within the yard area limits will be necessary to accommodate the construction. There will be no trees to be removed in the buffer zone. And Megan, you recommended that this be continued until the next.
Well, so, I think a representative for the applicant is here tonight. But I did recommend that, but I was able to get out to the site, with the wetland scientist met tomorrow. 2 days ago before I sent this. So maybe if he's able to.
Update us,
Update us, because I had sent him a memo with a few questions.
okay?
So maybe it would be helpful to just, run through those.
So Matt, can you address the commission, please?
Sure, if I'm able to share my screen.
You should be able to.
Okay, so what I have here is a replacement septic system for my client Aldor Cummins Edifard. Essentially what we have is in the light box here is where the existing system is. There is a Presby system that required some variance approvals from the local Board of Health. They were approved for him back in, let's see, August of this year at the public hearing held on July 14th. I don't know if you guys can see that letter.
Yeah.
So they did approve the system in its current configuration. I do know that I had some questions from Megan regarding the wetland line. We went out, reviewed the wetland delineation, which she found to be acceptable. She had requested that Evan sign his plan. I provided a plan with a certified e-signature on it. Here is the certification. He is sending me one with a wet signature, which I will send it to the commission. It's the same plan. I'm not sure what other questions were there. Megan, if you could go over the memo, I don't have it in front of me.
Sure. One of the other questions, or I guess things to confirm, was that the erosion control that was being used on site was the biodegradable filter socks, so.
Yes, straw compost wattle detail is here. I had him change that to make sure that it was a compost wattle. Those are with the, the green organic netting around it. So that was also changed on the detail was changed on the plan. Those will be staked in every 2 to 3 feet. Thank you for the reminder. I did ask him to change that detail as well, so.
And then, the other thing was just confirming that the driveway would be utilized for any storage of materials and not the vegetated areas by the lot.
Yeah, well, the driveway would be out of the 100-foot buffer zone. In fact, the majority of the system is just within the inner 50 foot. So the material, it would have to be accessed. The egress would have to come this way. It's very hard to get around, especially with a pool complex here. So access would go through the turnaround of the driveway, come out. Material is very rarely stored on site for any long period. This job is going to take maximum of a week. So any excess soils would likely be trucked off. If you want to put that as a condition in your order too, fine, I will make sure that I point that out to my client. And if I could ask, like I did on the one on Concord Street, if the commission does see fit to approve an order, if I could be the direct recipient of that original order, because I usually like to get them recorded myself.
Okay.
I guess you could call me OCD on recordings. It seems, if I leave it up to a client to do it, sometimes it gets mixed up, and I hate being one of those consultants that you call in a month and go, hey, how about that recording?
I think we prefer that, so that's good.
Well, good, we're on the same page.
Yeah, well, those are all the outstanding questions I had that have been answered, so I don't know if the commission has any other questions.
Not I.
No.
I get a motion to. Well, do we want to wait until it's Board of Health approval? No?
You can close the hearing.
The
Okay.
Board of Health did approve it on the letter I showed you.
July.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah, that was an approval letter. It was in July, the 14th of July.
Okay.
I move we close the public hearing for DEP 125-1204.
Second.
So it's Dan and Melissa. We'll take a roll call vote. Melissa,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Navdeep,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye and the motion passes.
Okay, folks, I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Do a standard order of conditions for DEP file 125-1204 with the addition of stockpiling materials outside of the buffer zone.
So we got Dan, Navdeep. Take a roll call vote. Brian,
Aye.
see who else we got here. Dan,
Aye.
Navdeep,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
chair votes aye, motion passes.
Okay, thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you
Very
for
much
it.
appreciated. Have a good night, guys.
You too.
All right, 7:35 or 6. Next. Item is the request for determination, BOA 394, this is 304 Russell Street, Daniel Tenzika. Construction of a garage addition on the west side of the existing garage. The southwest corner of the addition will be approximately 60 feet to the closest known wetland flag. Erosion control to include straw wattles depicted on the same plan. So does the Dan, do you have, or do you want to speak directly to this?
Sure, I'm gonna do my best to share my screen here. I'm not entirely certain.
I can do it for you if you'd like to. I can put the site plan up, or you got it.
You tell me, can you see that?
Oh,
Yes.
perfect.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. I'm a pro. Yeah, so essentially not too much heavy lifting here, hopefully, but essentially we're looking to just add on non-conditioned space for storage on the back of our garage. Obviously, you can see here the closest wetland flag to this corner is roughly 60 feet, as best as I could scale it out on this plan. So like we said, straw wattle be used for erosion control. And Megan had mentioned biodegradable wattle, that's fine. And then I guess suppose the only other concern we might have would be rainwater from the roof. So if everything were to go according to plan, we could do gutters and a dry well to control any water and run off into the wetlands. But essentially that would be all we're looking to do here.
Looks reasonably straightforward. So Megan, you had 2 recommendations for negative findings.
Yes, so the -3 determination says that the work described is in the buffer zone, but will not alter the wetland, therefore notice of intent isn't required, and then the -6 just says that it's subject to review under Carlisle's wetland bylaw, but doesn't require the filing of a notice of intent.
Plus Carlisle's wetland bylaws. Sylvia.
This is in my neighborhood. Oh, I go by this
No.
all the time.
Yeah.
Hi neighbor.
Hi Sylvia, how are you?
I guess my first question, my only question really is access, and is it going to be between the driveway and the wetland, or are you going to be coming in from Robbins Drive like you did for the septic field?
No, so we're too far to come in from there. So essentially, this little hammerhead here, there's a gravel drive you can see here that connects. So we'd be coming in through there, snaking along the existing garage to access it that way.
So none of the trees are going to be coming down that.
Well, I wouldn't dare do that, Sylvia, without a permit. We've done this before, so no. So this is actually an old. A couple of these trees were not there when we moved in. So this right here, this 15-foot oak is still there, but shouldn't affect access to the garage.
Okay. Because it was looking kind of tight, but yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously this dirt pile's not here. That was from, and these two, the 16 inch maple and this 14-foot tree were never there when we moved in.
Wow, fast.
They weren't there.
No, yeah, so they weren't existing. So this is an old, they took this plan from the original septic system they did, I suppose, 10 years ago. So those might have been taken down as part of that project, so.
Any comments from commissioners?
No.
Hearing none, anybody else in the public like to comment? Thank you, Sylvia, you already did. Can I get a motion?
We issue a negative determination for
304 Russell Street.
304 Russell Street.
Second,
Oh, yeah. Take a roll call vote. Melissa,
Aye.
Navneet,
Aye.
Brian,
aye.
Dan,
Aye.
chair votes aye, the motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Daniel.
Appreciate it. Have a great rest of the night.
We're working on it. Oh, sorry. Can't wait to hear the recording. All right, 7:45, we still have 3 minutes to go. Should we tackle the wetlands bylaw amendment? Is this something, Megan, you can report on, or?
Well, I thought,
Alex is
What?
coming at
We'll
8.
be discussing this in a few minutes.
Oh, is Alex coming in? Okay, all right.
He's gonna be in person, he said.
Are you talking about what
So-
the procedure, are we gonna push for spring or fall? I think
Exactly.
That's the question.
yeah, so the discussion isn't actually around the meat and bones of the bylaw, it's around whether or not
To
we
present,
should keep pushing it. Try to have it on the fall special town meeting or push it to the annual town meeting, spring. And I think it has been recommended, I don't want to speak on Alex's behalf, but it has been recommended that the commission consider pushing it to the spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the discussion, and if the commission wants to push it, I think it should probably be a vote.
I-
On the record.
I didn't hear him, what the reasoning was, just so I know.
So I think there hasn't been, opinion enough outreach yet. And also the bylaw still has to be reviewed by town council, which would take a while. And also with everything else going on, so the bandwidth that, say, the planning board has dealing with MBTA communities, they haven't really been able to really focus on the bylaw and look at it and review it and give questions or comments. So I think just a lot of things going on and not enough time. It's kind of the general consensus.
Yeah, I move that we postpone the wetland bylaw amendments to the spring town meeting.
Second.
So this, and Melissa and that me, right? Good enough there. We'll take a roll call vote. Brian? Are you having a cocktail or something? What's going on? And Navneet?
Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom. I'm here. Hi.
Well, we're gonna announce it before you come.
Well, you asked about having a cocktail, so I thought I could tell the truth.
So anyway, we're voting to agree to move this to the spring town meeting.
I heard.
Okay, and you say?
Aye.
Thank you. Dan?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and motion passes. So you can stop Alex when he comes in.
Oh, no, I said aye. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we got it.
Yep.
All right, I think we can go to the public meeting request for certificate of compliance, DEP 125-1141. This is 66 Lionsgate Road, Matt and Lisa Dacey. So construction of an in-ground swimming pool, hardscaping and associated landscaping and grading within a 100-foot buffer zone to the BW. So, do we have a representative from the owner? I see a figure.
I put the plan up. I don't know if they're gonna be here, because they said they were gonna pop on right at 7:45. But I can give my little.
How about a summary? Yeah.
So. I was able to look through the files and also talking to Sylvia. I was able to figure out that, so the RCOC was originally submitted in July of 2024. It wasn't issued because the site still needed two more stone bounds to mark the wetland area. And then the 1,100 square foot meadow area to be established in accordance to the approved plan. So I conducted a site visit with Noel, August 14th, and we were able to locate all 5 of the stone bounds. And the meadow area was present, so I just asked the applicant to resubmit the as-built plan to show that those bounds had actually been installed. Which they did, and they resubmitted the RCOC request. So, the 2 outstanding items from July 2024 have been confirmed to be completed.
Okay.
So that's the summary there. It looks like they might be on call. So I think they should.
Hi, yeah, it's Matt Dacey.
Hello.
Did I time it right?
Discuss your application and what you're hoping to do.
Yeah, sure. It's just a continuation from, I think about a year ago. We had come in for final approval on the pool that we put in our backyard. Sylvia had come out and everything looked good, except there was 2 items that were requested to finish. One of them, there was some seed in the back, like a meadow area behind our pool that at the time when Sylvia was there had been like mowed or weed whacked by our landscaper. So she just asked that we let it grow, which we did. And then there was 5 granite bounds that needed to be installed in the backyard. We installed those where they needed to be installed. It sounds like the team came out maybe a week or 2 ago, validated that. We updated it from the engineer and sent it in with the final as-built plan. And so we're just looking for final approval. Apologies, I'm at my kid's parent-teacher conference here, so I just stepped out. So apologies, I'm not on screen.
Well, that's all right. Megan gave a good summary of all the issues that you just outlined and agreed that it's good to proceed. Let me ask, is there anybody else in the public that would like to make a comment? Anybody on the board would like to?
I remember this one well, and it's, as long as they did those items, I'm good.
Okay. So can I get?
George, was there something about, concerns about discharge of the pool water at times? I don't know whether we were asking to do a dry well or we did nothing, or there was something in the order of conditions. Anybody remember?
There was a question about whether or not they would truck the water off-site and not let it drain into the wetlands. It's my understanding.
I didn't see any
That's a different
special-
project.
Is it? All right, then, sorry.
When I reviewed the order of conditions, I didn't see any special conditions alluding to pool water, or anything like that.
Ryan, that's a different one, I think.
Sorry. I think I remember being on site, Navneet, and you were saying you have the same kind of issue.
It wasn't this property.
That's one that was before us this summer. So this is,
No, I'm talking about one from years. I remember this one, because it has a big, pretty quick slope out to the, out to the wetland, correct? Behind the house? Anyway, if there's no issue, I don't need to say anything.
yeah, I think what Megan said, she reviewed the order, so there's no issue.
Okay, thanks.
It was before we did the new orders and conditions.
All right.
Exactly.
So I'll move, we issue a COC to 66 Lionsgate Road.
Second.
Melissa, thank you. Take a roll call vote. Navneet,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion passes. Congratulations.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Should I jump off? All
Yes,
right, you
Thank
guys
you.
have a good night. Thank you.
back to the school.
Bye-bye.
committee. All right, back to pending business, conscom feedback on the planning board's MBTA site evaluation. So Megan, is this something that you've been leading?
Really exciting.
You know, and complex, unfortunately.
So just like 5 meetings straight, but every time I go to do it, there's like more sites and then there's less sites and then there's more. So right now we're at 103,
No, really?
but the 103 encompasses some sites that are scattered sites have 5
Sure.
parcels, so it encompasses that. So it's not as scary as it sounds. But I did spend some good hours on going through the sites. And analyzing them. Some of the tools, just so you all know that I use the biomapping tools for each parcel. I would just click all the layers and see what's on it. I made notes of that for each site
Okay.
selection, as well as, of course, wetlands, FEMA flood mapping, vernal pools, certified habitat for your natural heritage. So I used all those tools. And then there's a score card that the planning board has given to rate the sites. So I'm not really sure how you all want to proceed with this, because for me to summarize all of these sites at a meeting feels like a lot to do.
Well, can you provide us with the information that,
I do have the ranks that I made. I kind of finished it up today, to be honest, and I worked with Sylvia on some of them to just make sure I wasn't missing anything on some of the sites that jumped out.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure. I know this has been on the agenda for a few weeks, but I did finally finish. So I'm not sure if you want me to just send out my findings and then maybe at the next meeting, you know, we'll decide.
do you feel
Send
you
that
have
to the-
more to do with this?
Don't.
Okay,
No, I think I've done it all.
It's ready for us to
I
look
think
at.
I'm
Yeah.
ready,
go for it.
but I was hoping I would have it earlier to send it on.
Is the scoring a ranking so that you like least impact, most impact?
Yeah, sort of, yeah, so for every department has been given a ranking system, I think, to my knowledge. So ours is about ecological sensitivity, so there's 4 different categories. The first category has to do with if there's, you know, like sensitive wildlife habitat on that parcel or the parcels. The second category has to do with impacts to wetlands and other resource areas that are within our jurisdiction. The third has to do with connectivity, wildlife corridors, open space, things like that. And then the fourth category has to do with tree removal. You know, if you were building the units all on one site, would you have to remove, what percentage of the parcel would require tree removal? So those are kind of the 4 subcategories that you rank in. And I believe I put it in the folder a while ago, but after this meeting, I can send it all cohesively so you can look. It would take some time to go through it all, but I'll give you guys all the opportunity.
What, are you just gonna give this to the planning board, or like, what's the next step?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was kind of wanted to discuss. I was thinking I would just, give them the ranking and then also provide some notes, for instance. Saying, of course, I carefully ranked these, but I wasn't I wasn't digging into all the files for each parcel, so it's really just for planning purposes, but it's not
It's not gonna give you the
definitive.
details.
Yeah,
sort of-
exactly. It's not like a definitive analysis on each parcel. It's more just like an overarching, yes, there's wetlands here. You know, I don't know to what extent exactly you'd have to do a delineation, but they are present, things like that. And then maybe if there's a few sites that stick out that got really, really, really bad rankings that are like, you shouldn't pick this site at all. maybe highlighting those, but that's the extent I was thinking.
I believe they're having their public hearing on the 29th, right? And then if we could,
So-
if we wait till the 25th, that's not gonna be very useful. You know, well, it doesn't matter, you know, if, should we authorize you to send them what you've done now so they can have time if, you know,
They do have a meeting on Monday and it's next Monday and the following Monday. So if you wanted to review it and allow us, like, extend it meeting next week, so they could review it at their meeting on the 22nd. Would be possible. So they would need it by the 29th. There's no after that, right? Yeah, well, they.
That doesn't give them much
So that's the open house is
What
on the
about-
29th, right?
What about we authorize Megan to send it now as a draft? And
solicit-
parallel, we have a chance to review it in case we have any final comments. Well,
I mean, realistically,
realistically,
do we, I mean, I
Maybe
don't think I'm gonna have much time, you know, I have faith in Megan, she,
Yeah.
methodology she described is exactly what we
Talked
wanted
about,
her to
yes,
to
we
do,
did, yeah.
so.
I think that sounds good too.
I agree.
I
just-
agree.
For Megan's sake, protecting Megan now, and it's like, at least for us to put our eyes on it. I know it doesn't have to be extensive review,
Yes.
just like, I looked at it. I respect the tools that she used, so that she has the full backing of versus, she just did this, she consulted with Sylvia, and then she puts this forward, which has a huge impact on the town. And I would hate for that to look
Yeah.
like we didn't do our due diligence.
That's a good point. Sorry, so how do we, finish this?
So I think
Fine.
email it out, and I just wanna lay my eyes on it. I honestly don't know that I will have anything different to say than what you've done. But again, like I said, that I just looked at it and it's like, it's kind of like just a layer of, yeah, they looked at it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So when do you think you'd be ready to send this out? And when would you need any input from us in order to make a change?
Could send it out by Monday.
Okay, and then the planning board's not doing anything until the 29th. So Monday's the 15th?
They'd be able to discuss it on the 22nd.
20th, okay.
If they have.
So if we provide feedback to our inputs that you give us on the 15th.
Give them at least a week.
Yeah, that's about, so that's on, so be up to the commission to provide inputs before the 22nd.
The 15th, you mean?
So 15th she'll send
Well-
it, which is Monday.
Monday,
We get back to her like 17th or 18th at the deadline. It'll give them at least the,
yeah,
The planning board packet will go out on Thursday. So next
The 18th.
for
Thursday,
the 18th.
so,
Okay,
so.
So we'll have 48
this
hours.
commission Provide feedback to us by Wednesday
Wednesday.
of next week, and then
Yeah.
on Thursday.
Which is the 17th.
It will be sent to the planning.
okay.
Yes. So I
17th.
can try to get it up tomorrow too, so you guys have the weekend.
great, that'd be wonderful.
That would be great.
I can
Yeah,
prioritize.
I'm on
that.
call, I'm not.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that. You made that point earlier.
It'll be so.
If there's any way, the way you give like the annotated agenda, if there's any way to give sort of like like a summary
Yeah,
statement.
I'll
Then it'll help me hone in on the things that I need to pay attention to. Like,
Yes.
do I agree that this is a bad parcel? Do I agree that this is quote unquote bad parcel, quote unquote?
No.
Good.
And if there are any areas where you felt a little more iffy than others, you know, let us know where you'd like us to
One of the other
put in extra
things
attention.
I'll probably note is the scorecard, that they designed that I obviously use. I'll also give comments of maybe there's some parts of the scorecard that, don't encompass like the entirety of the Wetlands Protection Act, so like I'll make a note.
That would be
of those
nice,
things
yes.
as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Sort of extra information that
Yes.
help guide you in your right.
Yeah, that would be great.
Right, so I'll send that out tomorrow. That'll be my priority, then you guys can look at it all weekend.
Great.
Megan, could you send it to me too?
Yes. Sarah and Crystal also have their hand raised.
Oh, see.
Who, Christina?
Tina has her hand up, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Christina.
She on mute?
Maybe
she-
she held it up so long, she fell asleep. It's been up for a while.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't, can you hear me? I couldn't unmute.
Good.
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. I don't know if this is gonna make a difference or not, but the categories, because the third scoring category and the fourth scoring category sort of canceled each other out, giving the scores a more even, not differentiating sites with the scores. Sarah, the chair of the planning board, and I sort of combined the 3 and 4 and adjusted the language a little bit. So I don't know if that throws off your scoring or not, but I just wanted to let you know that their scorecard, I believe, now reflects only 3 categories as opposed to the 4 because of that issue.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I only have the 3 then.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the most updated one. I think before I was doing the 4, but yeah, my most recent version is only 3, so.
Excellent, thanks. Not to make things more complicated.
That makes sense. All right, do we need to make a motion on this for now? I don't think so either. It's important information. Alex, FYI, we agreed with you to move the new bylaw to the spring meeting.
I think that's a good move.
Okay, we thought you'd agree with that.
I wanted to make a comment as I came in. It was a moment of joy. Because I haven't seen this since February of 2020.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what I said when I walked into.
To meeting to observe it before.
Yeah. So this is nice to see.
Yes.
The table's all wrong. so-
Right.
It's upstairs.
Dan said there was a circular table.
No, it's the one upstairs in Heald Room.
Okay,
Was down there.
it works for me. It fits enough
Yes.
for the Conservation Commission. All right.
Well, she's in the wrong, yeah, she's in the right place. No one else should be over here.
Oh.
All these historical protocols.
Yes.
You don't know about.
We're just kidding.
Are we adjourning the regular meeting and open?
Well, there's a cranberry bog issue.
Okay.
Yes, number 6.
And
Yeah,
before we do, we had, when Steve wasn't here, we recognized and thanked him, but now that he's here in person, can we repeat that?
Yeah. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you for mowing and jumping out so quickly too,
Wonderful.
and providing photographs. We really appreciate it.
Well, I didn't see those.
I'm
just wondering how long the signs will last before they end up in the lake.
Well, there is that issue. I don't know, it's apparently people are walking around the sign.
It's okay.
They've
they
been
don't look
warned.
nice.
Closed trail doesn't apply to me, right?
Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Just going back to number 3 real quick, I thought I had, it may go a really long way, Brian, if you sent out like your agenda or like a meeting invitation to the stakeholders to the LSC, like the AgCom, like you mentioned, just beyond just publicizing that the meetings will be held. It might be a good idea.
We'll absolutely do that. The first meeting is just to get the members together and figure out the roadmap. But the
Yeah.
second meeting, we definitely, when we're into stakeholders, we will make it absolutely clear. And we had an issue with that in the past. Apparently, AgCom was sending in information and Ashley was sending it out to another Brian Murphy. So it wasn't ever making it to LSC. So that's been corrected.
Otherwise.
No.
Did anybody ever figure out who he is?
No, and you know, I get those all the time, people inviting me. I'm the long lost guy from high school and am I coming to the reunion in California? And I always try to reply to them because it's, you know, there's a lot of Brian Murphys, but Brian W. Murphy at outlook.com was not responding to her. So maybe he thought it was spam. I don't know.
Well, there's one in my company, Brian Murphy, and he replied saying, not me. So, thank goodness.
I went
All
to
right.
college with
Um,
6 of them, so I've been through it.
Last item, Cranberry Bog.
We still have to do number 6.
Yes.
Really quick.
Funds come feedback for funding. Oh, sorry, isn't this number 6? I don't have the
Sorry.
books on my agenda.
EEA has updated the open.
Oh, that's new
This
that
is
I didn't
important.
see.
This is
This is
incredible.
great, yeah,
This is incredible.
Yes,
Yeah.
so our office received a letter from EDA. That was dated in April, but we just saw it.
Yeah.
In this month.
The day before the last meeting.
Yes. Explaining that we have until September 30th to update our 7-year action plan to a 10-year action plan, which would extend our entire open space recreation plan 3 years. So I think that would extend it to 2030, 2031. So I reached out to EEA and I believe we should be able to meet this deadline. Gonna try to make it happen. So I just wanted to update you all on that because it was a letter we received from them, so important to let you know. But I will keep you in the loop on that, because if we get the extension, then we don't have to worry about starting the next open space recreation plan for years down the line, which would be such a relief.
yes.
It's a 2-year project to do. And I had it
That's great.
on all this information I gave to Megan, I had it, we need to set up an open space plan meeting this fall.
Yeah,
So,
well, that's great news.
yes, it's incredible.
Hopefully we can get, I think it'll be okay, I think we'll get lucky.
Okay,
Yeah.
Get lucky.
Alright, great.
Now can I go to the Cranberry Bog? Finally.
Would you like me to?
Yes,
speak?
please.
Sure. So I think a lot of people here may know, there's been a few sinkholes popping up on the Cranberry Bog Trail over the dam. So we had a new hole this week. And due to the immediate public safety concern, our chair, George, decided to use his authority to close the trail, which crosses the Cranberry Bog Dam number 1. And so now that we're in official capacity, it'd be great if the commission could just vote to authorize that more formally. Yeah.
Any comments from the commission? Anybody in the public want to put comments on?
Oh, and also big thanks to DPW and Jim for always being so
Jumping in
reliable
to-
and quick and
right.
filling those for us.
And Steve to help out
Yeah.
too.
Really helps.
Right.
We appreciate that.
So can I ask, we're voting on the emergency, but also I think due to Steve's hand, we've provided a detour and another way to pass over the dam.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. The signs are out there.
Very good.
Right.
I move that we authorize, I guess, to close the trail for public safety reasons.
Seconded.
Cute.
But I'm sorry, are we closing the trail if we opened an alternative?
No.
Closing the passage,
The crest
the
trail,
crest trail.
the
Okay.
crest trail,
Passage.
yeah,
That's
the crest trail
Mm.
for Cranberry Bog Dam.
number 1. Yep, got it. So,
Until we can make dam repairs.
Okay, as amended, I'll make the motion.
so Dan,
Second.
seconded, Melissa, give a roll call vote, Brian,
Aye,
Navdeep,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
Melissa,
Aye.
chair votes aye, motion passes.
so George, do we need to tell Aubrey so that apparently there's something on the or will be on the website that says that the trail is closed, but should we,
Sure.
there's an alternative trail beneath it or to its
Oh.
left or whatever one wants to say?
I had told her about the closure. I can let her know that there's an alternative trail. So I can
Oh,
cover
okay.
that up.
Yeah, I think that's good to do.
Good idea, Brian.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We'll take a roll call vote. Melissa, do you want to hang around more or are you all set?
I vote aye.
Okay. Brian,
Aye.
Navdeep,
Aye.
Dan,
Aye.
chair votes aye, we can all go home.
Well,
Thank you.
not quite.
Yeah.
Never owned house.
Is anybody
Well, I
here?
guess we're all here, right?
Yeah.
Who's I phone?
Rebecca?
Is someone from Mosquito among those names, maybe?
It's an iPhone.
Thank you. Usually it's the same, unless somebody.
iPhone just.
Is anyone here for the bylaw discussion that's on the Zoom?
I am.
Great.
That's Christina.
No,
No.
I'm Patricia Wolf.
I'm here for that as well.
He was here for that too. Good.
Megan, can you pass that to me?
Here you go.
Can
Anyone else want?
you read it okay?
Why not?
So is this your summary explanation that we saw before?
I think what you're looking at is the draft of the bylaw itself.
As
Yes.
actually itself,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
He's thinner than it was before.
Yeah.
Oh, it's two-sided, no, I know.
Reading it also.
Would you like to open up with a,
Sure,
you have chairs?
yeah, but I'm motion to do that. I think as the commission knows, we've had a chance to present the draft bylaw to the Board of Selectmen and to the Board of Health, to crack, and one other.
ESC?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
ESC, thank you.
I guess.
And I would say that the Board of Health had some concerns which we need to address. ESC was very supportive. Croc's point of view was that it didn't affect them as a committee, but some of the members gave some very helpful comments. One of them believed we had not gone anywhere near far enough. And we're being a bit too soft. Yeah, so with that as a backdrop, there's still quite a lot of work to be done. We will need to review the bylaw in light of all the comments that we've received and I guess expect to receive. As then amended, the bylaw will have to go to town council for review. So I think the commission earlier tonight voted to move the bylaw to the Springtown meeting, which gives us some time to accomplish these, tasks. Patricia, I don't know if you've, had a chance to look at the bylaw or the explanation. I'm happy to go through it if you haven't, and even if you have. So Patricia, have you had a chance to look at it, or do you have any?
Yes, I have. I printed it out and have read it.
Okay. Do you have any specific questions, or do you want me to just?
No, just go ahead. Thank you.
No, okay. In Massachusetts, wetlands are regulated by the Commonwealth through local conservation commissions under the State Wetlands Protection Act. Most towns in Massachusetts have also adopted local wetlands bylaws that include greater protections than are provided under the Wetlands Protection Act. Carlisle has a wetlands bylaw, but it's really only about collecting fees from applicants to review the applications under the State Wetlands Protection Act. And so Carlisle is really an anomaly right now. There are very few towns that don't have substantive wetlands bylaws. And this effort, which is started before COVID, was resumed recently, is to provide those protections in the same way that most towns in Massachusetts have done. So there are really kind of three broad areas that most towns have adopted additional regulations, and this bylaw proposes to do the same. The first area is, what we call the buffer zone. Buffer zone is an area of about 100 feet out from various types of wetland resource areas. And under the State Act, they're only protected as ancillary to the wetlands themselves. In other words, they're not assigned any value except as they may be necessary or helpful to protecting the actual resource areas. The science certainly suggests very strongly that the buffer zones have independent value that should be protected in effect as a resource area. So most towns have adopted setbacks from the wetland resource area with different levels of protection. And that includes all of Carlisle's immediate neighbors. And while those setbacks vary from town to town, this bylaw proposes a sort of three-tier protection and is really consistent, if not a little bit more lenient than most towns who have adopted bylaws. So we're proposing here that the first 25 feet of the buffer zone, the first 25 feet from the resource area should be, a no-touch zone, leave it alone. And then within the first 50 feet, there should be no structures, no buildings, no swimming pools, no tennis courts, anything that you would consider to be a structure would need to be set back at least 50 feet from the wetland resource area. And then the third tier of protection that we're proposing is to require low impact development techniques to be applied to any work within the buffer zone. This is a term that's well defined under the State Act and well understood, and is not something that any design professional should have a problem either understanding or complying with. So that's in a nutshell what we're proposing with respect to the buffer zone. The second broad area of protections that we're proposing is for vernal pools. And vernal pools are sometimes called ephemeral pools. They dry up in the summer months, so they don't support any fish populations, and they're critical breeding habitat for a number of amphibians, and under the Wetlands Protection Act, the protections for vernal pools, even though they're considered critical resource areas, get very little protection what we're proposing is to have 100-foot undisturbed buffer zone around vernal pools. Because that area is vital to the sporting of those amphibians that breed in the vernal pool. I did a little research tonight because this is one of the pieces that has been missing from our explanation. And all of our immediate neighbors, except for Westford, also have 100-foot vernal pool setback. Looking at the MACC summary, I counted 145 towns in Massachusetts have vernal pool setbacks of 100 feet or more. In one case, 250 feet, quite substantial. So this is well within the norm of the various bylaws that have been adopted in Massachusetts. The third area, which the State Act provides very little protections, is for what we call isolated wetlands. So most of the wetlands that are protected under the State Act are wetlands that are bordering upon rivers or streams or ponds or lakes. Isolated wetlands, those that are separate and apart and don't border on those water bodies, receive no protection except that development should not, in some cases, result in the loss of storage for stormwater. And what we've proposed here, and this is consistent with most bylaws, is to provide the same protections for isolated wetlands that exceed 750 square feet in area as is provided for bordering wetlands under the Act. So those are the three main areas that the bylaw addresses. There are some other issues that we've added, which probably a little bit ahead of what other towns have done, but are consistent with recommendations that the town's consultants, have recommended in the updating of the bylaws. Primarily, that involves the application of stormwater management standards to essentially all developments. Right now, under the State Act, for Carlisle's purposes, residential developments, so stormwater management standards apply to developments of 4 or more lots. We're proposing that they apply to smaller developments, so even a single family resident. This is these are engineering issues that almost never present a problem in terms of a restriction that can't be complied with. It just requires the applicant's engineers, consultants to provide for the infiltration of stormwater and to control runoff and the rate of runoff. But we've included that, and that's one of the things that the town's consultants strongly recommended. So this proposed bylaw is intended to apply to new developments or new uses. So if you have, your existing house and it's there lawfully, and anything that you've been doing there, your landscaping, etc., if it's all there, it's gonna be exempt from this bylaw. Nothing about this bylaw will require you to change anything you've done in the past. If you are proposing new work that would be regulated under the bylaw, then you'll need to come to the commission to get permission, and obviously any new developments will need to comply. To the extent that these proposed regulations may cause an unduly harsh result or a difficulty in compliance. We've included in the proposed bylaw a provision whereby you can apply for and obtain a waiver of specific regulations if you can show to the commission that you cannot comply, and if you provide mitigation for the waiver. I think that's pretty much it. Dan, if you have anything to add to that, that's my summary.
Yeah, I think you covered it very thoroughly, Alex.
You've got it down pat, so.
So third time, fourth time.
It works.
Eventually I'll just sleep through it.
I guess there's one more item to point out that in terms of this bylaw recognizes recreation as a value, which is unlike the state act. And so one of our in section 9, it says, to the extent not inconsistent with the protection of resource areas, the commission may consider the enhancement of public recreation opportunities as a mitigating factor in determining whether regulated work complies with the performance standards of this bylaw. So that, I guess, I don't know. Do you have any kind of opinion on how you interpret that, or what's the intent of that, Alex?
I think in terms of determining whether a proposed project complies with the wetlands bylaw, these proposed standards, the commission can consider if you're providing, say, a walking trail or some other public recreation value, that is a countervailing or mitigating factor that should count in favor of allowing the proposed project.
Yeah, so it stops short of making an exemption necessarily, but because it's still subject to the state regulations,
Yeah.
but it's potential that the commission could waive some of the more stringent setbacks or a recreation project.
The passive recreation or any recreation.
I think we use the term public
recreation.
Does that include like trail type?
Yeah.
That's basically.
Maybe we should expand on that a little bit, to further define that, and not Steve's, you may have any input in that.
Well, I was wondering about soccer field, for example.
Yeah, that's basically why I'm here and why Pat is here and why Sarah's here. We're all on Trails Committee. And we're just wanted to find out how this is gonna impact us going forward, because we're probably one of your most frequent filers.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I think, in my experience, your committee has always kind of been very receptive to kind of our requests to kind of consider alternatives and, comply with stream crossing standards, which whether or not we had a bylaw, you would still be subject to anyway. So I think, yeah, so hopefully that this, at least, it may not be perfect for what your purposes are, but at least it attempts to kind of consider that. So I think we'd be open to any language, additional language. One other thought I had is maybe we could develop like a best management practices document. So if, trails projects can be approved kind of under RDAs or minimal permitting as long as they comply with these set standards, for example, stream crossing standards for bridges and things like that. So maybe that's another way if we could streamline that.
I mean, this just came to my mind. I've been a member of MSMCP and talked to other agents around the state. And this is ringing some bells in the head. So to my knowledge, there has been kind of a small movement of different municipalities trying to make like construction of trails and things like that more accessible and not having to go through the stringent permitting process. But I think I've heard recently from a few agents that they've had pushback from Mass DEP in appeals. So I'm gonna reach out to the people I know that have been trying to get this trail work done through a better process and see if they've had success or not before we maybe finalize this.
Good
But I just, that rings some bells in my head, that I
Yeah.
think other communities are trying to do something like this. And if they've already kind of thought the fight and have tips, it's worth, I think, asking them for advice before we try to do it on our
Yeah,
own.
that's great. Yeah, they were gonna make a limited project, maybe category for
Yeah.
this. I think that's what I was understanding.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll try that. Yeah.
We did have an issue with a trail project, didn't we? Last year, wasn't it last year?
Well, they would change our bridge design, basically, make it narrower,
3 feet wide instead of 4 feet
which
wide.
we did, but that means now we can't get a cart across there. We have to do repairs. We can't get a mower across. We want to mow the edge of the trail. There's downsides to doing that.
Yeah.
The other question I had is if we have project like, for example, Two Rod Road, we rebuilt last year. Dan was nice enough to go out with us and determine that it was a isolated wetland in that area, so we didn't have to file. So if we had to file on the next time we do that, would we also have to file with the state, or is it a separate application just for the town?
That could be a bylaw only filing, because it still wouldn't be jurisdictional under the state.
Okay.
So, yeah, you wouldn't have to.
The problem seems to be when the state gets involved and overrides what you guys decide.
Any other comments from the commission? Anybody online who'd like to make an initial comment? Christina, Sarah?
Thank you. Actually, I would, it seems to me that perhaps along the lines of what was said, a more clear definition of what the recreational activities would or permits would be allowed. I could see that if it's a little hazy, it might, and somebody really wants to challenge that for something that was not intended, like a stadium going really extreme, but something that was not intended as an exemption. It could be messy. And so I think the clearer that section could be, I think it would just help avoid future issues.
Be good to address all those now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a little boat ramp or dock where I can tie up my canoe or something, can I do that somewhere? I have no idea.
Public recreation.
Like public versus personal, right? Like, that's what, how it must be.
On golf course.
Well, yeah, so I think we'll work on that. We research what other towns might be using for definitions. Think
Good
about
idea.
it, but yeah,
Yeah.
we'll certainly accept input or, from the Trails Committee.
Patricia, any last words from you?
No, I'm also viewing it from the point of view of being somebody who's working on the trails. So I think the clarification is really critical because oftentimes there's, you know, invasives along the way that you might need to remove. Is that okay if it's close to this wetland protected area? You know, it's just sort of vague in my mind what we can and cannot do, and I'd want to have that really clear.
Thank you. So if I got a recommendation how to handle this now.
This is just a discussion, no?
Is that all we need to do?
So, to my knowledge, this is just a discussion, and then to do any actual revisions, we would schedule a public hearing.
We're not ready for that yet.
Yes, we would schedule the public hearing, because then you guys would deliberate and vote on what revision you want. But this is just kind of like open forum discussion. To clear things up for the public or commissioners or staff.
I guess, yeah, Sylvia was summarizing kind of the comments from some of the other boards. I think that got circulated, but, you know, if there's anything else from our most recent presentations to CRAC and ESC, we should all consider that, you know.
Consolidate them together.
Yeah, exactly. And
I can do the notes from track and some from tonight too, but I flew it on ESC. I'm completely.
yeah, Alex was solo, right? That one.
Yeah, was the best reception. But that was the audience.
Yeah.
I think the most critical thing is, you know, to meet with the planning board. I know the planning board is, and its own thing,
Mhm.
which will take them up through, you know, the fall town meeting, but we can get on the planning board agenda after that.
We can have a more polished document,
Yeah.
taking into account these other boards' comments. That would be good. And yeah, some of them were kind of looking for case study type things, examples of, you know, how this development that was built, maybe the one in Woodward Village, for example, you know, that's like the newest big development. How would have that been different, had to have been designed differently if this bylaw was in effect? So that, you know, we can figure out how to do some kind of analysis, you know, or also the Board of Health was like, well, what about vernal pools? How does the average homeowner find out if they have a vernal pool? How much is it going to cost? So, you know, we got to make everyone aware that there's GIS tools that our own town website, you know, had
supports. Yeah.
They can, but you know, that was kind of one of the concerns. Well, is this going to cost every homeowner thousands more for any kind of project, any kind of addition or whatever they want to do, you know, which are reasonable questions.
And that was my initial comment way back when, that I think were misconstrued as me being opposed to these bylaw points. But the average person who's gonna be voting on this is not the people in this room who are in the know, who have some sort of, I don't have legalese, you know, a lens on when I read these, so I have to really like think through, well, this is referring to that and it's this exception. And to Dan's point, I'm afraid that the average homeowner is gonna read this and say, this is more restriction, it's gonna cost me more. And how do we explain that, but not reassure either, because we can't reassure 100%. But how do we explain that this is valuable, as well as that it's not necessarily gonna be that much different for everybody too. It's just going to be valuable for our environment.
Good summary.
How do we balance that? And how do we, and Alex, just like sometimes I talk to like a physician and not as a non-physician, you talk as a lawyer and not as a non-lawyer. And so, coming up with some sort of language around that is true to the document, to the bylaws so that we're not falsely reassuring people, but also in some ways reassuring people. Does that make sense? Like that's
Persuasive.
the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
How do I?
A goal.
Maybe
Cheat. Yeah.
If a cute thing, maybe you can do it.
Yeah, but in a very visible way, because like today was an open meeting and I love all the people here who are dedicating their time to talk about this, but I don't think the average person who's going to attend town meeting is hearing these conversations.
Tuned in. It's like,
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to get, once planning board is through the
Yeah,
craziness they're in, just getting on, I know you've already done a bunch of work. To get on other agendas and give presentations, for people that are tuning into those things, they will just catch it and be like, oh, what's this? And then listening, but yeah, it's tough.
like even like being willing to be interviewed by this mosquito to talk about the bylaw and have that, you know, people read that and rather than just an announcement that this is on the agenda of a particular committee's meeting.
but you know, MBTA has got a,
There's a lot. I know there's a lot of other fish to fry right now, so
Right,
I
right.
recognize that,
but
but
they're doing the open house also. Is it 29th or something like that? I forgot. We had an open house and nobody opened the doors to come in, apparently.
Which says it's not on the radar yet, right?
Yeah, I must admit, it wasn't on my agenda that I saw.
Yeah, so. It's the last.
Well, I don't know, how many days ago did it get added on?
At the top of the second page.
So.
But it would have been good to have an announcement somehow on the
Where
paper
was it?
to let people know.
Mosquito didn't publish for 3 weeks and
Oh, it was-
at the meeting where they decided.
Oh,
they
you're
wanted
right.
to do it.
Sorry,
There wasn't
I'm
meant
blind.
of it in a different article, but not an actual.
I went looking for it on the Comstown website. I couldn't find it.
it's like a big bullhorn.
Yeah. Well, I think that's correct criticism, because I think, I could.
I get
have made
notified
a-
of all your agendas, so I read and saw them stuff.
Okay, I see,
And
yeah,
then forwarded the other posts from Joe's and me, but
I think it would be great to have our website more advertised, like geared towards advertising what we have going on. And I think, Noel and I have talked about wanting to do better with that, so I actually appreciate that feedback, because it makes it more of a priority for me.
And
I think that
social
is
media,
important.
like
Yeah.
Carlisle Parents Group and the Carlisle Town
Yeah.
Instagram thing.
But timing wise, I think it would be maybe. Not a great idea to try to, prior weigh in for attention while the MBTA.
Yeah.
Of course, it'd be too much.
Holiday.
We wanna, start to make
Oh, totally.
the advertising push after.
Well, originally this was
Over.
going to be on this past spring town meeting. And then
Yeah.
it got changed to the fall county meeting because that's when the bylaws were going to happen and then just that exploded. With the MBTA and then I guess there's a historic
Demolition. delay.
demolition.
Yeah,
So,
and I think I saw in the last planning board meeting that I think our moderator was discussing that. And we're voting for all of that, and that's thinking is this. The November 2nd meeting would be focused exclusively on SETA. Communities, right?
Yeah, it's a Monday.
Right.
Push to the
meeting.
next.
Yeah. My final comment is, Megan, this was mostly done before you were with us, and you worked in another municipality, and you're the administrator. You're the one who has to make sure people are complying with. So you should go at this with, a packet, from your perspective, and just give it to us, because, and I know you got plenty going on, so, but
Yeah,
Is it enforceable?
yeah, I haven't taken a really close look at it yet, because I thought it was just, it was like, oh my god, it's on the wall. All time, I don't have time, but now if I have some time, I definitely will look into it, and I know that I'll be meeting with Brian. I think next week maybe, to go over the next steps to try to get this on springtime meeting and, you know, what steps we take to make sure we advertise it better and do a lot of outreach. But with all that, I will definitely now. I'll be back to this.
Yeah, okay, great.
I'll take it.
Mhm.
And the 9 months or whatever it is between now and then, we'll go back.
Yes, we're gonna start now.
Yeah.
Why it's good that we are still doing this because it will kind of keep the fire going.
Where you used to work, did they even have a bylaw or was it?
So in Waltham, they didn't,
Yeah, so
but
that's
in
another.
Camden, they did.
Oh, okay, yeah, because a town without a bylaw, you, like here, you can kind of see what
Yeah.
we wish we had or what's clearly missing.
Was a plan for regulations as well with the bylaw?
That's down the road, I think what's.
Yeah.
I think sometimes make things clearer.
Yeah, we definitely would need to do that eventually, but I think it's enough work just getting
Yeah.
this.
Right, oh, yeah.
Well, I thought the regulations in Billerica were actually very well done. And turned out that Mr. Mativier was responsible for that.
You have a local.
So when I said, "No, those are really good," he said, "Yeah, thanks."
That's cool.
That's good.
Right.
All right,
It might
before
be-
we adjourn, can I say one thing?
Oh, sure.
One question people have asked is, what problem are we solving? You know, what bad thing has happened in town that we're preventing? Maybe not just applying it to Woodward Village, but are there any cases where something happened that we wouldn't want to happen?
There was a parcel that somebody wanted to build a garage that was literally within 5 feet or 10.
Three.
3 feet of the BBW.
The police
No,
station
no,
would
it
never
was-
have happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it provided, but we didn't have any backing to what we were saying.
It'd be good to have some that's documented, so.
Several years ago, and every time I go by this house, I remember this. There was a proposal for building a house on a new lot, and they wanted to clear back to well behind the house. It was up a hill, and then there was a wetland on the other side. And they wanted to clear back to it. It was, if it wasn't 50 feet, it was at least 25 feet. And the commission denied that project. It was upheld by DEP, which was great. But so they have a history of denying projects where you get too close to a well when you don't really need to.
Yeah.
I think one of the problems is there's a tendency to push houses by the developer to push houses back closer to wetlands, and I don't know why. So I know there's some houses here that kept wondering, you know, why is the house way back here when they can move it over here? And in one case it was, oh, we didn't want to take that tree down. So they put the house there. People moved in, took the tree down. So.
Usually it's ledge.
It was.
Blow up the ledge.
I think one of the other benefits of having a no disturb zone so that people can't build 3 feet from the wetland. But on top of that, I think having the no disturb zone allows for, like, you can advertise it as a public benefit in the way that when applicants apply, they have a clear understanding of what their commission expects. So when you don't have, you know, regulations or this bylaw in place, every time someone proposes a project in the buffer zone, the Wetlands Protection Act, as it stands, doesn't give you any regulations or guidelines to make your decisions off of. So it's kind of like any commissioner could change their mind on any project, you know what I mean? So when you have clear guidelines, it's actually a public benefit because they know what to expect. And it makes everything more efficient. So that's like another way that you can advertise it in a positive way.
That's one of the benefits that Alex put in there.
Yeah.
We're defining
presumptively permitting, permanent RDAs and NOIs, which most, I don't think many bylaws have that. So yeah, that helps actually reduce the permitting costs for applicants. Yeah, and that's
Highlighting is.
if you going in, do this and you'll get approved
Right.
in one hearing. So
Have you ever thought about, with RDA's determinations, having a process afterwards where you actually go in and determine that that's actually what they did?
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, you might consider that in subsequent regulations.
I wasn't suggesting for the bylaw.
No, or in conditions and in, orders of conditions, but it's always been the case that you're relying on people to comply. And it's only when somebody drops the dime that you're, whoops.
Well, technically, aren't you allowed to go on there? I wouldn't do this, but technically, I think you're allowed, once a determination is made, as long as that determination is valid, you have the right to enter the property. I would never do that because I would be scared, but technically, you could check on it, but who's gonna do that? Yeah.
I've been told by town council you need the property owners. permit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've gotten different recommendations from DEP, but I would trust.
Town council.
Yeah.
I would trust
So,
that.
so Cohasset, when you sign up for your RDA or your NOI, you have to sign a document that says, I'm also giving the conscom permission to enter my property. And any enforcement order, instead of Megan making you do it, they require that the chief of police serve the enforcement order. So we don't have to worry, we didn't have to worry about Sylvia getting punched in the nose or you punched in the nose. So, I think those are good things to do. But they have to sign an agreement that they're gonna let us on the property, or they don't get their RDA or NOI.
Positive spin on this.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it's always been, at least in my experience, since from the 90s, and I was more recently on the commission, that this commission tries very, very hard to do things amicably and without employing a hammer. And that's a good policy.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I don't know. I'm happy to give you that motion, but I think we just.
We don't have to adjourn this meeting?
No.
Oh, man. We still have to read more about the.
So if you weren't in a
meeting law.
meeting, does that mean you were breaking your open meeting law?
Although we weren't.
Oh, it's advertising.
Yes,
Discussing, we weren't making any determination.
right.
But did we have to adjourn after the last determination that we made? We'd like to announce.
But we continued a quorum, so we might have to adjourn again. It was still a quorum of the members.
can't hurt. We adjourn. the
Dan,
meeting.
thank you.
Alex,
Seconded.
Abdi, Brian, do you adjourn?
I agree to adjourn.
Oh. Abdi, Dan, Melissa,
Hi.
When did Nick?
chair votes aye. Motion passes.
Okay.
Thank you all.